Hey, what's up, and welcome to Movie Dumpster Season 6, Episode 7. Today we're talking about Stepfather 3 from 1992, directed by Guy Magar. I'm Joe Lascola.
And I'm Sean O'Rourke.
Welcome to the Dumpster. Happy Stepfather's Day, Sean. How are you?
I am good. I'm very good. I think I'm doing a little better than Terry O'Quinn is doing in this film. But yes, Stepfather's Day, our third Stepfather's Day in the movie dumpster universe. I guess technically 4. We skipped a year in season 4.
Yeah, but this is the conclusion of the Stepfather's Day tradition.
Yes, which initially was not the plan. I think going into it, we just kind of were like, hey, let's just cover the first one. But then once we kind of went to video, we're like, fuck it, let's take a stab at the second one. And now we're here on the third just to kind of round the whole son of a bitch out.
Now, we talked about the remake.
Yes, in that first one mostly.
In that first Stepfather episode that we did for the first movie. But this is the last Stepfather we're going to do.
Yeah,
don't expect a full review of the remake. We got all our thoughts out in that first Stepfather episode.
Yeah, I think maybe a commentary down the road if people really want it. But yeah, we don't need to do an episode on it.
Because somebody's going to be like, oh, well, you didn't talk about Stepfather remake. And
no,
it's like,
go back to that first one. We talk about it for like 20 minutes on
that
episode.
And that's about as much as I want to talk about that movie.
Amber Heard's in it, I guess.
Or something. Her ass is, that's for sure.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that, weirdly enough.
She's competing with Alyssa Milano for most ass screen time.
Nothing can compare to that in the MDU. We know that.
It was an ass clap heard around the MDU, yeah.
Yeah, Bimmy and Jimmy were watching it all the way.
Smacking one and punching it. It was.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. They were doing the double dragon attack.
There you go. Twin dragons.
Twin dragons, yeah. But yeah, Stepfather 3... the movie that just,
keeps on giving?
Absolutely not. That's not what I was going to say. Don't want to put the cart before the horse. But, we talked about in the second review, or the second movie review last year, that, it kind of felt like it lost its way, the stepfather character and just the themes of the film in that sequel. And, diminishing returns, I guess, without repeating the entire review.
Yeah, I mean, for our full thoughts, you can go check out our Stepfather 2 episode and go check out our Stepfather, the original 1987 classic. Go check that out, too. But, yeah, Terry O'Quinn, it's like a totally different movie, that second movie.
Yes.
He's a lot more
of a slasher. The comedy's ratcheted up a little.
It's more like a slasher. The
dark humor.
The kills are up. There's definitely more comedy. He has like that kind of like Freddy Krueger-esque type thing that he does in that movie. He goes
full Freddy when he has like that car scene when he's crashing the car in the junkyard, laughing and everything.
Now,
are you feeling that back there, Phil? I think he even says.
He's cranking the fucking radio up. But like, it's a fun time, but it's not the same kind of movie as the first movie. And that's kind of a problem for me.
Me too.
And we talked about it on that episode. But this one is...
You remember when they used to have horror movie series and they were like, hey, we kind of milked the tit and there's like maybe a drop left. What do we do? Well, what if we made a fucking TV sequel?
HBO was like, let's grab the rights to Stepfather from ITC and let's kick this fucker up.
Yeah. That's what we got here, and we can expand on that. That's the point of the show.
And we will. But first.
Yes, and if you guys want some more Movie Dumpster content, including an ad-free version of the audio version of this show, head over to patreon.com/moviedumpster and, support the show for as little as $2 a month.
That'd be great, and for no money at all. You don't have to spend a damn dime. If you like this video, subscribe on YouTube if you haven't, or if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, do us a favor. Leave that 5-star review, because it really helps the show get out of the bottom of the dumpster, into more eardrums, into more eyeballs. Let people know we're going to grow this Movie Dumpster community, baby, so let's do it together.
And as always, if you want updates on the show, what's going on in the dumpster, you can always follow us at Movie Dumpster on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and everywhere else.
Oh, they sure can. And so with that being said, let's get into the Terry O'Quinn list, Stepfather 3.
Yeah, I mean, just heads up, folks. He's getting called Terry probably most of this. Maybe Keith might happen a few times. There's going to be some Jerrys.
Who am I here? Who is he here? We don't know. We're not quite sure. I don't think he does.
No, he absolutely does not.
He absolutely does not. Just on that note, since we just threw that right out in the open, threw that fucking curveball right in the beginning, Terry O'Quinn is not in this movie. And from what I could find, because on IMDb, it just says he stepped away because for whatever, he's just like, he's not in it. And there's a plastic surgery. And you're like, yeah, I know that. Why?
I'm guessing he just didn't like the script and was like, I'm done. I don't need the money that bad.
So I found a couple different places, and apparently in Fangoria, he had said something like, he didn't want to be typecasted as like a serial killer.
Sure.
So that's why he kind of stepped down. But that was already a sentiment that he had for Stepfather 2, and he didn't like the way that turned out. So he was just like, I think we talk about it on that episode.
We do, yeah.
And I think that led to him being like, you know what, I'm good.
I think it was studio interference to get more gore and stuff like that. Even the director wasn't thrilled.
Yeah, no, so that was a big problem with that. Which is really weird about this one, but we'll talk about it.
Part of that before we talk about its TV version, so.
Well, it's HBO.
That's crazy to me.
This is created for HBO, so in my head, I'm like, apparently there's two cuts of this, an X-rated, whatever the fuck that means, and an R-rated. I'm like,
more bathtub scenes.
I'm like, this shit is so tame as it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Except for one part, which kind of shocked me. We got a little real footage thing going here, like that Thriller Cruel Picture thing. Well, yeah. As far as like having more gore and shit in it, like it is tame for an HBO, and it's even funny.
I'm surprised it's HBO. You keep saying that.
I know, but it's funny because it's so ridiculous that we have shows now like Game of Thrones and shit where there's fucking asses and dicks and vaginas and exploding heads, and then I'm thinking like, Tales from the Crypt is out at this time.
True. I mean, even cable has stuff nowadays that would blow this out of the water.
Yeah, but we're talking 1992.
I know.
There are Tales from the Crypt is in full swing at this point, right?
Oh, yeah.
So there's blood and guts and gore and cursing and all kinds of stuff on HBO.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's weird that they're like,
Right, it feels more like one you would see on the TNT or the USA Network, like made for TV.
Yeah, it's borderline like
outside of, again, those bathtub scenes and maybe one or two other scenes we'll talk about later.
It's like borderline like A&E thriller or something like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like Lifetime or some shit.
Psycho 4 comes to mind minus the writing.
Gotcha.
Like that's what it feels like a little, like that style of made for TV.
So the tagline of this movie is "Daddy's working in the garden."
Again.
Ellipses again. And I'm like, well, what the fuck does that mean?
He's never worked in the garden.
He's never worked in the garden, and he's a gardener in this movie. And like, apparently, so just to bridge the entire gap of the John List mini real life murder documentary series that's been running through these episodes. John List took up he was a hobbyist gardener.
Oh, so now they're finally getting to the real, the history behind the real deal now?
I guess Guy wanted to include that as like another wrinkle. I mean, he's trying to do something good with this, but it's just not happening. Yeah, but if you don't know who John List is or you're missing out, again, go back and listen to those episodes or do your own research.
Yeah.
So, Guy Magar is the director of this movie, and he hasn't done a ton of shit. He's done a lot of TV, but like, TV for like regular television. Like HBO is a premium channel.
Right.
That's why, again, it doesn't really make any sense. So why it's so tame or why it was cut down or whatever. But he did one episode of Werewolf, which we'll get to.
What is Werewolf?
Dude, it's a fucking series from the 80s. That's all I really want to tell you about.
It's about a werewolf.
It's about a werewolf.
The rest would spoil it to explain. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to go into it because it's really good and we should totally check it out.
Okay. Piqued my interest.
Possibly something like parallel with Talks from the Darkside or something.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to do something with it. Maybe Patreon.
Sure.
We'll figure it out. But he also does like 3 episodes of La Femme Nikita, which I want to say that was HBO or Showtime. I remember it as a kid, like it being on. I never actually watched it.
Don't even know what that is.
Sexy undercover agent or some shit like that. Yeah. And then, of course, he did Children of the Corn Revelation. Take that for what it's worth.
What are we on? 8, 9? Which one is that?
I think there's like 10. I don't know. Somebody's going to say it in the comments. I didn't do my Children of the Corn research.
Another series that went on for way too fucking long, and now we got a remake. Why? I don't know.
And you get the guy who does Equilibrium to do it. That was a fucking...
Kurt Wimmer?
Yeah, weird fucking choice. We'll get to that apparently at some point.
Do you think Isaiah's face gets cut off? Does one of these Ezekiel?
Isaac?
Like Tay Diggs? Yeah, one of something like that.
Isaac gets fucking...
It's all those biblical names. I forget.
Malachi is the other one.
The redheaded kid. Yeah. Kid in major air quotes.
Yeah, Courtney Gaines is like, I don't know, he's got to be almost 20 in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, if the plot didn't, kind of fizzle out by the end of that film, he was getting taken out regardless by the time. He's aging out.
Oh yeah, well the guy who played Isaac like never got older. He just stayed the same age.
Right.
The Gary Coleman effect.
Exactly.
And yeah, that's all I really got on this. There's not too much there.
Not shocked.
I mean,
IMDb was pretty sparse on this one.
I mean, IMDb, Wikipedia, it's just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Somebody called for this question mark for some reason, and now we have it. Oh, this is the only media that it's on except for in Germany. So,
VHS, that's it.
VHS in the US only, and then in Germany it's on DVD. It doesn't even have a Blu-ray or anything. I don't even know if it's in widescreen. It's all like it's still 4:3 probably.
I watched it on Tubi. It looked pretty good actually, transfer wise.
It's on Tubi, but it's 4:3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a fucking VHS rip.
I was gonna say I don't know if I necessarily want a DVD of this, but I guess it'd be nice to at least be able to have it available for people.
I eventually would like a Stepfather collection restored. We'll get to our final thoughts on this particular entry, but I wouldn't mind having it with the other two, like in a full special edition.
Yeah, like a combo pack. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, for sure. But with that being, that's really it. So you want to plot crunch this one?
Sure.
Happy
why
Stepfather's
not?
Day.
Yeah, happy Stepfather's Day, Slugger. Don't forget it. So somehow, some way, Terry O'Quinn. Well, Terry O'Quinn's not actually back, but in the MDU, the movie dumpster universe, Terry O'Quinn, the Winter Stepfather. Again, we'll explain that a little later. Might not go as deep into it as we have in previous episodes.
We will hit it as we go.
Yes, we're going to hit it as we go. But if you want the full breadth of this, pause the video and go listen to the fucking big breakdown I gave in the beginning of the Stepfather 2 episode. And come back.
And all that stuff in the Stepfather 1 episode.
True.
Yeah.
But there is a chunk in the second one I know where we go into it. But anyway, so he's back. He somehow escaped from Puget Sounds again. Why he was in Puget Sounds a second time, I don't know.
They put him back in there, man. They thought they can contain him.
He wanted that fucking hat. He got in there to steal the hat. But anyway, he escapes again, and he changes his appearance this time for actor reasons, but also for plot purposes. And he moves back to California, but a different perfect neighborhood in America, most perfect neighborhood in America. And like he does in the last 2 films, just, preys on a woman who's either grieving or has some kind of anxiety in her life, has a child, has
single mom.
Exactly. Yeah. That's his MO, and he kind of moves in. And kind of like the second one to some extent, it is a little bit more of a slasher than a straight thriller. Again, the side of the box here is trying to say horror thriller. A little debatable about that, but
I would say this one's more of a thriller than a slasher.
Maybe compared to the second one at least. But long story short, anybody that kind of finds out his secret or gets in his way, he takes out. And we also have an additional wrinkle in this one, which I guess is kind of consistent from the previous 2, where the son is kind of a junior detective. He's into detective stories.
Well,
and kind of is figuring them out as the story goes on, much like Jill Scholing did in the first one, and Caroline Williams did in the second.
Yeah, well, he's got a computer program to help him out in this one, so we'll see.
But it kind of
he's a fucking grade A sleuth. This kid.
He is. It cultivates in this kind of climax at the end where things are revealed.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
But that is literally the gist. There's not too much else that really happens outside of that.
Yeah, it's a stepfather doing stepfather shit.
Yeah.
Basically. But not as good.
Yeah, and this guy, Robert Whiteman, playing Terry's part this time, the titular stepfather.
We got Terry O'Quinn as Robert Whiteman, as Keith Grant, as the stepfather TM.
Oh my God, yes, this is like a Home Alone 4 situation with the Marv thing.
Yes.
With French Stewart playing Harry as Marv or whatever.
It's French Stewart playing Daniel Stern as Joe Pesci as Marv.
Yeah, it's a very similar thing. This is a weird interpretation of this character. It's just like, I see what they're trying to do because he gets the plastic surgery, which I do want to talk about, but hold that thought. So it's like, okay, he's trying to do the voice. It actually, from like a storytelling standpoint, does make sense, but it just kind of comes off as cheap. Again, like you can't help but sit there. I understand it's HBO, but it's got that TV made for TV shine on it. And I hate that comes off as just immediately a negative. But I just feel like in my movie viewing history over the last 30 plus years, that if it's the 3rd or 4th sequel and it's on TV, rarely is that a good sign, And instantly it's already the stinks hitting you in the face in the first 10 minutes with this bad accent. It's like, I see, maybe it was bad direction from somebody. And like, he actually is doing a pretty good job overall with what he's given to work with. But yeah, that accent, man, you're no Terry O'Quinn. I'm sorry, Roger or Robert, whatever your name is.
Robert. The way that they do this though,
Sure.
So it opens up and it's like the fucking docks, right?
Yeah.
There's like a I don't know. This guy.
He says, "I know what you did last summer." Phase.
He's hanging out with Ben Willis down there, dude, in a fucking storage unit.
They're exchanging fishing hooks.
Yeah. So he goes down there. And the guy, I swear to God, I think we've said it on the other episode, but it's got to be like either the guy who fixed Joker's face in Batman 89 or like his fucking brother or something.
Yeah.
They're in the game, right? They're always fixing Psycho's fucking faces for some reason.
In room 66, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mirror.
This fucking guy comes out, Joe. And I had to think about it for a bit. I'm like, this man looks so familiar with the cigar poking out of his mouth. And I should have just known to call Joe. He knew instantly.
So it's none other than Mario Recuzzo from the anniversary dinner episode of Tales from the Darkside.
Yes.
I think I mentioned that in a previous episode.
In the first Stepfather, but I didn't have the knowledge of the Tales episodes at the time.
It's all connecting. See how it all converges?
The MDU is real.
The MDU is real.
Obviously, the wife passed away. They had a little bit too much of that white meat, the other white meat.
That was it. That's what happened. And, the only way he can cut it was his surgical precision of cutting up that meat and fixing people's faces.
Right.
Maniacs' faces.
He never really had a backbone. He ate a lot of backbone, but he never had a backbone. It was the wife had all the backbone, as we saw in that episode.
She kicked him to the fucking curb, you think?
Well, she's either died or kicked him to the curb. I think she choked on a clavicle bone, personally.
He's sleeping on a couch in a fucking storage unit.
Yeah.
Doing half-ass autopsies on people's faces.
Well, yeah, because he does this Joker-esque surgery on this guy. Yeah. And, like, it's kind of cool how they do this, honestly, with the close-up shots. It kind of, again, try to make it seem so that's not actually Terry O'Quinn, but it might be Terry O'Quinn because the shot is so close on the face.
It always obscures his face, and they both have, like, those piercing blue eyes, so it works in that regard.
I do think it's kind of funny. He's like, yeah, I don't have any anesthetic, sorry. And he takes a huge swig of a drink, doesn't give it to Terry.
He's got, like, Jim Beam like, some kind of anesthetic, and he's like, this is for me. I don't know what you're gonna fucking have. This is gonna hurt like a son of a bitch.
Yeah. Slicing at the face.
He takes a fucking drink and he like shoots himself up. So what really I think this is the grossest scene of the fucking movie. You wanna know why? Because Guy Mager actually filmed a fucking plastic surgery like happening real time.
Wow, okay.
So I'm like, oh, that's pretty real looking. That's why I said the Thriller thing with the eyeball.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
The only thing is, like, it's lit like a movie, so I'm like, so what'd you do? Turn all the fucking lights off when this guy's getting surgery? Like, who agreed to that?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess I was gonna say it looks realistic, but it literally is realistic.
It was fucking making my skin crawl a little bit, man. With the thing in the nose that they hit the bone and then slice it.
The cheek getting sliced off and everything.
Yeah. So he's cut this fucking guy's face up, and like, there's a montage of him cutting this up with all this real footage, but then he's like smoking cigarettes and shit. Dude, those ashes are falling in his face. It's like in his mouth, and he's like sewing up his fucking ear and shit.
I think he dropped the Junior Mint in there.
Oh, dude, something is wrong with something's in his face that'll never come out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like, that's why his nose looks weird.
That's why he's got those scars on his neck, man.
Oh, it's the Junior Mint, obviously.
Yeah. They melted and ran down the back.
How do I get these scars?
You want to know how I got these scars?
He's the Joker surgeon or the brother.
This is true. Look, it all ties up nicely
with
a bow.
But I'm saying, like, the guy, the surgeon has no backbone, because then there's, like, a passage of time.
Oh, yeah, he's there for, like, 6 months.
Yeah, just hanging out with the bandages on his face, like Joker. Yeah. And he's like, I didn't think you'd be hanging out. I thought you had your own place. And he just, like, turns at him, and he's like, oh, well, okay, and, like, gets all sheepish and sits down. And I'm saying, like, no backbone, because the wife must have had it. She took it. She took it with her in the divorce or in death.
That part is so funny because he walks in with like a burger and like fries and shit and like a drink, and he like takes his fucking drink out of his hand and like starts drinking it through his little hole in his bandages.
And then, of course, the audience saw it coming. This guy didn't see it coming. This loser surgeon, the best in the business, doesn't see this coming.
Yeah, seriously. And how he's not been double-crossed up until this point, I have no idea.
I mean, he obviously did not see Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, so, he didn't have that knowledge that if you, bring one of these maniacs back to life, they're going to kill you.
Right, sure.
Because that's what happens instantly. The bandages come off. He's like, oh, my best work. Grabs the fucking cervical bone saw, bone cuts his fucking neck off.
It's so
it's
stupid.
Horrible effect. It's just
dude, we just watched like real skin being cut and like shit like that happening, and then this fucking thing is like, let me touch you on the neck there, and then like there's like this almost like dreamy like trippy sequence.
Oh, it's like that bad slow mo
where it's not even slow mo. It's like a trailing effect on him, and he's like, there's no blood or anything. He just fucking dies. It's like, okay.
And there's like this weird like blue light that just blasted all over it. I guess just kind of make it look like creepier, but you don't even need it. I don't know why they did that.
I mean, I guess it's moody or whatever.
That's the intent.
Potentially for what that is, but like, I mean, it's fine. It's not that bad.
Guy dies.
Go figure.
Yeah, shocker. Stepfather steps out with his fucking hood, and then we cut, 9 months later, graphic hits the screen.
Yeah, and all the while before, even we forgot to mention, but like when he kills, as he's killing him, he like fucking has like the perfect housing magazines that he's always thumbing through on these movies.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's Deer Haven is his new Mortville. That I think Deer Haven is it's gotta be where Gage Dobson lives.
Oh. Yeah, he's hanging out with Munchie?
Yeah.
That's
how
they actually met?
Wheelchair Kid is hanging out with Gage Dobson at school.
Yeah. I mean, not to be confused with Wheelchair Kid from Uncle Sam.
We're gonna get to Shades.
Andy in this film.
We're gonna get to Shades momentarily.
Okay.
But I just want to just put that in there.
Yes. I'm of two minds of this. Again, like, second sequel made for TV. How annoyed can I really get at this point? But I'm like, a part of me is like, okay, the consistency I'm into. But on the other hand, I'm like, you're literally going to just do the exact same thing from the second movie, and it's going to be also in California where you're desperately wanted for murder.
They try, yeah.
I guess. Well, he changed his appearance, so
Seattle.
Everything's fine.
Oh no, he doesn't. He is in California.
Yeah, well, because I double checked to make sure.
That's right. He's in the Mac and Me neighborhood in the second movie.
Yep. And with the burbs.
With the burbs, yeah. And then he, I guess, went back to Seattle in the Puget Sound Penitentiary.
Yeah, they like him in Seattle for the
Why the
lockup.
fuck would you go back to California?
That's what I'm saying. And again, the second best, because the other one used to be the best.
Oh, gotcha.
For families until he moved in and fucked it up. Now Deer Park took over, Deer View or whatever it's called. So we do this cut again 9 months later after he sees this thing and he kills the surgeon. He's in Deerview. But we gotta get, the B-roll, the shots of the neighborhood, people just enjoying life, the kids playing.
Yeah, see what it is.
Random in-shot of a fucking naked 3-year-old's penis on the screen. Thank you very much, Stepfather, for TV.
Why are you honing in on that?
We don't have any, major gore, no titties in this film. 3-year-old's penis on the screen. Thanks, HBO.
I see stuff like that. And I just find it normal.
It is normal.
Yeah.
It is very normal.
Yeah.
It's funny to me. Just the absurdity of why was that included.
It's like blink and you miss it. These kids are playing in a sprinkler.
It stuck with me for some reason.
Sean, it's the innocence of the town, right?
That's 100% what it is. I just don't know why.
Because there's no fucking diddlers there is what it is.
I guess exactly. You just
it's diddler free.
Yeah.
You can do that there.
But yeah, then we cut to just Terry at this fucking church.
Well, by the way, Stepfather 3 is a fucking Easter movie. Okay?
It's a lot of things.
I think we talked about on that first one that that was a Thanksgiving movie and a Christmas movie
yeah,
kind
there's
of.
Thanksgiving scene in there somewhere.
Well, this has an Easter scene right at the beginning. All right? Fucking Charlie Bounty Hunter's there. He's fucking hiding woods porn for the kids.
The Krites are out there somewhere.
Oh, you know they are.
Movie 101, Joe.
Yes.
If you want your killer to be intimidating, to be a threat in any way, shape, or form in your film, don't fucking do this!
Dress him up like an Easter bunny?
In the most ridiculous things, makes Ralphie look like a fucking joke!
Well, Sheriff Harv did it for 9 years running.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing with the buck teeth drawn on the fucking chin. I'm like, Jerry Blake would not do this. I don't care how ingrained he's trying to get.
Look,
he's not doing it.
He's trying to snag.
Sorry, this is Keith, different character.
Well, his whole angle, I think, is walking around to the kids and giving them candy and seeing which one of them. No, I think maybe it might be.
I think that's 100% what it is because that's what happens.
Straight up.
Gives fucking little Andy in the wheelchair the candy.
when we're introduced to Andy, this motherfucker is popping and locking, man, on his wheelchair.
Andy is the best character in this film.
Yeah.
Absolutely should be the hero, is the hero, and I wish we spent more time with him because it was the only joy I got out of the film was anytime this little kid was on screen because he is a firecracker. He's just says interesting shit constantly, and it's just I love seeing this at this point after the first movie. I mean, not to keep beating it to death, but the second film kind of ruined the character for me to some extent. And now this third one, it just really just kind of just runs with the idea deeply into the dirt as far as I'm concerned. And I'm just yeah, Fucking put one up over on the stepfather there, kid. Come on. Show me what you got.
This is David Tom, by the way.
Okay.
I got a through line with him.
He was in something else at the time.
He's
that
in
I feel like you're...
He's in Stay Tuned.
Okay,
but
okay.
we need to introduce another character for me to just sew that up for you. You know?
Are they in this film?
They are in this film.
Okay.
It's his mother, Priscilla Barnes.
AKA Ivana from fucking Mallrats, the fucking fortune teller with the three tits.
Nipples. Oh, she's also replaced Suzanne Summers on Three's Company.
Yes.
That's how we get the John Ritter carryover for Stay Tuned.
Okay.
There you go.
Haven't seen Stay Tuned, but I'm following you.
So John Ritter plays David Tom's dad in Stay Tuned.
Oh, okay.
So what happened was
the love triangle.
Priscilla Barnes and John Ritter obviously had that apartment together.
Okay.
Right? With the three of them. Three's Company. Come on, knock on their door.
Right. Mr. Roper,
Mr. Roper, all that. Don Knotts, deaf or something. We don't know.
Big Bully.
From Big Bully. And then she has a kid. Okay. Separately. They move out. She has a kid. But it turns out she's about to get murdered by the stepfather. So little Andy has to go live with John Ritter and Stay Tuned. And that's his adopted son.
Okay, is this before or after he has that psychosis, that what do they call that?
Psychosomatic paraplegic, yeah.
Right. I guess is actually a real thing if you look it up.
I mean, sure. I mean, there's different psychoses for different things, like
plot device I could have lived without, but anyway.
We'll get to that. I mean, at the end of the day, Terry O'Quinn helps that little boy.
Yeah, it wasn't John Ritter, Joe.
No, it was not John Ritter.
You think it would be?
You think it would be, right?
Yeah, I mean, after Bad Santa, you would think.
You know who else is in Stay Tuned?
No.
You
think I would know? I said I haven't seen it. Who's in it? You know who else is in it? I don't know. Let me go down the list. Who?
Jeffrey Jones.
Our favorite.
The one and only Dr. Jennings from Howard the Duck. See, it's all connected, by the way.
He keeps coming up for some reason.
I know. Hey, he lives inside a television in that. He's like the devil.
You think they're going to bring him back for Beetlejuice 2? Is he coming back, Joe?
Maybe. You think?
He's in the car behind Winona. They haven't shown him, and he hasn't leaked yet.
Don't let him around Winona's daughter in that movie. Or whatever.
He's got a 10-foot fucking pole between him and Jenna Ortega. This stands between anyway.
Dad, we got a restraining order. Get out of here. Beetlejuice fucking turns into the snake and does something to him.
Talk about a PR nightmare. I would hope he's not back.
I don't think so.
Can we get Catherine O'Hara back at least?
We'll see. So now Terry O'Quinn is now Keith Grant, Easter Bunny, and he meets Priscilla Barnes. And
also, she just is like, this is the first time they meet.
You're the cutest Easter Bunny I've ever seen.
That was unbelievable to me. She either has a serious kink or just can really look past the makeup.
I think she's just desperate, is what it is.
Clearly, with that fucking hat she's wearing.
I mean, Priscilla Barnes ain't a bad looking.
No, not at all. I'm just saying, they dress her like a damn frump for the first half of this film.
I mean, it's 92.
It is Easter, I guess. I should give her some benefit of the doubt here.
So
her Easter hat,
her Sunday best. So they're at this Easter thing, and they're at this Easter dance, and
she's 23rd anniversary.
Yes, and we're introduced to Father Brennan here, who hangs out with Andy, wheelchair kid. Yeah, they're buddies, and they talk about true crime stuff because Andy is big into the true crime, and he has this fucking video game called Computective. Computective.
Mm-hmm.
Which is you solve murder mysteries.
Right.
It's Clue for the computer.
But it gives you scenarios to try to figure out, more involved than Clue. But yeah, definitely in that vein. Because he's always him and the father are always going back. Oh, how'd it go this time? Was it acid? Was it a hanging rope? What was it?
was it the chauffeur? Was it the butler? Was it the gardener?
Right. Yeah. Foreshadowing.
So they're fucking dancing and stuff. Now here's where the movie throws kind of a curveball because Priscilla Barnes was dating another guy, Mark, and he looks like Terry O'Quinn, and you think that it's probably Terry O'Quinn with a modified face, and you want to know why? Because he's half bald. He's like a red
I don't think anyone was thinking that.
I think you could be. It's like a red herring.
Yeah.
For the better part of the first 20 or 30 minutes of this movie, you think it's Mark who is Terry O'Quinn. He's even saying shit we're going to make the perfect family, and we're,
I guess I could see
he's stalking them outside their fucking house.
I just feel the way it's presented that, I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying, because you're not wrong.
It's intentional.
But the way it's shot that definitely doesn't come across at all, because why are they focusing on fucking Keith in the goddamn Bugs Bunny Easter Bunny outfit?
Again, I think it's just to kind of throw you off. You're like, oh wait, is that him? Is that him?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. To me, I just like was sitting there like, wow, this is on the fucking nose.
I mean,
well, this guy's obviously gonna get killed because he's like the stepfather light, and he's like, yeah, I'm a tough guy. I'm gonna follow you home. Hey, Stepfather TM, get off my lawn.
They push you in the direction that could be Terry O'Quinn, and I guess that I guess that the plastic surgery also gives you a full fucking head of hair and changes your voice, right?
Well, he's doing that impression. He's trying. They fiddle with the vocal cords a little.
They give him the implant. Maybe they could.
Yeah, you're right though. Yeah, Mark is his name. Is Mark, the X.
Yeah. But he's like creeping around outside their house, and he's doing all this shit.
Creepy. I see what you're saying.
But he's dropping stepfather catchphrases. Like the perfect family. We're going to be a family. It's like, you don't understand. This is my family and it's perfect and I want it.
Right.
And then he gets fucking busted up.
Because like...
And then you're like, oh, okay, that's it. I mean, obviously we know that's Terry O'Quinn.
Right, I get, yeah. Because there's a few scenes where like he's basically like, oh, now he's dating this woman, Christine. Yeah. Kinda.
Well, because she was seeing that dude Mark. Now she's seeing this guy Keith.
Right.
The Easter Bunny man. And he's moving right up, dude. They're having dinner with him. He's playing.
And he likes him at first.
Yeah, until he finds out he's a fucking creepazoid.
Well, until they get married.
Well,
very quickly.
It's always up until they get married.
Yeah. Because they're hanging out more, but then Mark keeps showing up, like Joe was saying. He's like, basically hiding behind the bushes and stuff, and like doing creepy ass shit. So yeah, you're like kind of like, what is this guy's deal? So then, Terry, he's gonna be called Terry, but the stepfather TM, he works as like a gardener in this one, like we were talking about. So there's like that additional wrinkle of like, he also has this boss who's always giving him a hard time, but like Thompson, yes. But for whatever reason, and this was a element to the first two films, don't get me wrong, but like they really in this first like half hour, which like to what you're saying, like I totally get where you were coming from with that, like the audience or the writers, directors trying to trick people.
Yeah, I mean, because they're trying to do something different, but they end up doing the same thing.
Exactly, so. But they do this whole thing where he's really like not reacting to things. I don't know how to really word that properly. Like he's calm. He doesn't react to any insults. He's just like, oh yeah, get out of my way, Mark. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm gonna plant my flowers.
So it's like, he's gonna fuck, because if he's gonna kill somebody, they have to directly interfere.
Right.
And it's the whole thing where, that's Mark coming up.
Right.
Are we talking about Thompson or Mark?
Mark. I was just mentioning Thompson as an additional character who's a ball buster right off the bat, and you're kind of like, old Terry he still would have tried to like keep a DL, but he would have had some kind of snarky comment. This guy's just like taking it. Just like, oh, okay. Like very meek. That's the term.
He's rebuilding his life as a gardener, which is strange.
Yeah. In the scheme of things.
Like, I don't know why he's even doing that, because he was a prestigious, like, real estate agent.
Yeah,
he was a fucking psych doctor before in the second one.
Yeah.
All kinds of shit. But that guy Thompson is like, just real quick, I want to talk about him.
Yeah, I did mention it.
Because he's like a whatever, fucking wise guys or whatever's. And he's like cracking jokes, like he's slapping fucking Terry O'Quinn's ass and stuff. And he's like, yeah, you're gonna go fuck that new chick that moved into whatever's.
I would never do that.
He's like, I don't know what you're talking about, Thompson.
I don't speak that way. I'm an all-American man. I'm like Ward Cleaver.
I don't have sex until I'm married.
Yeah, it's my plot point from the second film.
It's a thing. I have a thing. I have to do these in steps, and then I kill everyone.
Yeah, right. Birdhouse, TV, Mr. Ed.
Mr. Ed, Birdhouse.
But yeah, you're right, Joe. That guy does make those comments, but he's 100% right.
Flannel jacket.
He's reading his ass hardcore.
Oh, he knows his fucking deal from straight up.
Yeah, this guy also has his own little agenda we'll get to in a little bit.
So before he goes after Mark, before he has the conversation with Mark, I just want to talk about the picnic scene, because Priscilla Barnes invites Terry O'Quinn out to a picnic. And during that picnic, they're talking about like her backstory and who Mark is, and like Mark's her boyfriend, but the father of Andy they've been divorced for like 2 years.
Right.
So she's been dating, but that's not Andy's dad.
Right, because it's not immediately clear that this is like just a random act. You think it might be a father or something at first, but so it's good they clarify
Where's the perfect family? Well, I'm going to make the perfect family.
Yeah, they're at the picnic and they're having that chit chat. But doesn't Mark even show up there?
No, Mark. He might be stalking them. I can't remember. But this is where we get like Terry O'Quinn's like, oh, why is Andy in the wheelchair? And Priscilla
Oh,
Barnes is
yeah.
like, well, we were having a fight, me and my ex-husband, and Andy ran out the door and got hit by a car. But then we took him to the hospital and he was fine. And the doctors were like, he could walk, but for some reason he couldn't walk. So he has a psychosomatic paraplegic condition.
Right, where he's convinced he can't walk, and they went to multiple doctors, and they basically say, yeah, he's fine. It's all in his head.
He's a fucking cheater. You want to know why? Because he's on that. He's
Is
on
like
that.
Grandpa Joe from Willy Wonka.
Yeah, exactly. He's on that wheelchair basketball team with Eric from Mac and Me and fucking Shades from Uncle Sam, dude. They're all hanging out.
Okay.
Telling you.
Well, he's really gonna disappoint them at the end of this film.
He's got a literal leg up on them.
Two of them, actually.
He's a little faker.
Yeah. Well, which, Terry's gonna test that later to make sure he's not just full of shit. For some reason. That's a real fatherly scene we get to there.
Yeah, but I think Mark is like creeping on them during the picnic because he's watching them the whole time. He's been stalking them.
Like
There's like these stalk sequences. That's why I'm saying they're trying to make you think that might be Terry.
Yeah, but my read on it is like, yeah, that is happening, but like Terry's gonna kill him and it's gonna be funny because it's gonna be like this guy doesn't know what's coming.
I mean, it's because you're an intelligent person, but I'm saying
and it's also
the way that
Stepfather
it's
3.
Yeah, and the way that
it's presented. Yes,
it's presented.
You're 100% right.
So Mark goes to confront him at like this little cottage, and he's like planting flowers.
His house or whatever.
His house, yeah.
And
he's like, stay the fuck away from my family. That's my family. It's a perfect family. You're not going to take them away from me.
He's like, well, okay, yeah, you had him first. I get it. Let me grab my shovel that has like razor blades on the end of it.
This fucking sharp ass spade.
He's been fucking out there like with the friggin' rock.
Sharpening it up, yeah.
Jesus.
He clocks his fucker right in the kneecap and then beats him in the face with it. He's really strong.
He is the Winter Stepfather.
He does. He has that robotic arm that he fucking hit him in the face with a shovel.
He uses that again later to break a window.
Just in case you're not familiar with the Winter Stepfather program.
I guess we should go into that just a smidge, right? Yeah.
Just a little bit, because Munchie's also in this universe.
Yeah, you said that. Okay, yeah.
And the reason that's true is because we've dubbed Munchie the turtle of our MDU.
Right.
So he's kind of
he's like a term, Stephen King term.
He's like a harbinger of doom, but he's also benign.
Right. Yeah.
Right. He has parties that he has good intentions, but he ends up fucking them up, I guess is my opinion, right?
But he could literally do whatever he wants if he really wanted to.
If he really wanted to. But in this particular branch,
sure,
he's the turtle. He specifically Andy's turtle that he
like
has.
A positive Munchie at his best, let's say.
We're not really sure, but he's there. At least
floating on that pizza finally.
The fucking turtle's floating on the pizza. He's not a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, but he's So he's there. I don't know what he's doing exactly, but he's present just in that in this timeline.
Yeah.
Gage Dobson has to live down the street. Because Cruikshank is here. You think Elliot Carlisle was a part of this Winter Stepfather program? I think he was
a test subject.
He was a test subject for sure.
Until Winter Stepfather moved in, Terry O'Quinn, Jerry Blake, whatever the fuck he's calling this, Keith Grant or whatever the hell it is, Mr. Grant.
They wipe his memory.
Gene.
They wipe his memory every time. That's why.
Well, that's why he's so fucked in the head. But long story short, again, if you
he remembers each kill though.
Yeah, he always, of course. If you don't want to get the full lore bomb, which we still do recommend, it's basically just this guy Cruikshank from Munchie is a secret like
scientist,
a scientist from Hydra or some shit, I guess. And they took Terry O'Quinn because he was the best of the best of the best with honors.
Sir, yeah.
Serial killer. He ascended.
They took his arm off.
At the end of this film, he basically is kaput. We'll explain why in a little bit, but he ascends, which essentially is, for the uninitiated, just means you went on to another life. But in the movie dumpster universe, it's not heaven, it's not hell, it's not a Valhalla.
No one's ever truly dead.
No, exactly. You could be reincarnated as Gunnar Henson's famous for this. He turned into
Plumber.
Plumber. He also turned into
from our Drainiac episode.
What's his face in Ghost Shark?
Oh, Richard Mole.
He turned into Richard Mole at
which
one
was
point.
A weird crossover.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't because Sean didn't realize that Richard Mole was a thing at the time. That was definitely just it definitely wasn't because of a Gunnar Hansen joke that went too far. But yeah, so Ascension is just that's our universe thing of like, that's why people keep showing up in movies. Donald Pleasance is one who's ascended many times. We just never really cracked that nut open entirely.
It never ends. It's a cyclic thing, right? Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So Terry O'Quinn is the Winter Stepfather.
Right. So much like in the MCU, with the Winter Soldier is a souped up super soldier. There's more lore to it than that, but that's the gist.
I think Christian Bale, Captain America, and Alfonso Ribeiro Falcon like took him down at one point too. I think that's it. I think that's
the MDU's Avengers.
Yeah, on the Instagram, I think we did something like that. Sigvalson is Thor, and of course Al Pacino is Iron Man.
Of course. So. Was that before we had that kid at 84? That 54-year difference? His miracle baby? Iron Man's a miracle baby? The Kindred, obviously, coming from Al Pacino's
Oh, yeah, there you go.
But yeah, there's lore on this podcast.
Little Anthony coming out of there.
Exactly. Spurt it out. Courtesy of Cumdar, of course.
Oh my goodness.
Cumdar, he did a dance for Al. Al was like, please, Cumdar, let me come one last time.
Oh my God.
Ooh, wow, let me come. And then Cumdar from the skies, of course,
Oh, so now he's like a god. He's an entity.
Well, much like in that Stepfather 2 episode.
Fertility? Question mark?
It's cum related. It's cum related specifically.
Okay. He just granted him the load.
Well, he's like Henry Bowers. He's up in the, the Henry Bowers situation.
Oh, yeah, right. Al Pacino.
Yeah, exactly.
Here, Al.
I don't know what that has to do with the Stepfather.
Nothing has nothing to do with it.
This is the show, guys, gals, and everything in between. But the point is, the Winter Stepfather is basically a cyborg. He's like the $1 Million Man. I think we joked about in the past.
Yeah, it's just basically I wanted to tie in the Munchie element.
Yes.
Because Cruikshank is definitely present, and he is the conspirator of this Winter Stepfather program.
He's taking notes. He's already got this man's DNA. He actually had the fork at one point.
Right, exactly.
So he's getting ready for what happens after this film ends. But in the meantime, before all that nonsense goes down.
But yeah, before we keep going, let's take a little break.
And now, these messages.
Joe, Godzilla's coming.
What are you talking about? He's already here with the new Heisei series from Cavity Colors.
What?
Head over to cavitycolors.com/moviedumpsterpodcast and use promo code moviedumpsterpodcast at checkout for 10% off your order.
That all sounds great, Joe, but I'm serious. Godzilla's right there!
Hello?
Hey, what's up, and welcome back to our Movie Dumpster Hotline segment, where we take some of your voicemails on the old answer machine here, the old best of the old standby, and some of your emails that you might have sent us.
Right. Or, you can send it by snail mail. P.O. Box is in the description. Or Joe, give it to us now.
Oh, yeah, you can send that snail mail to Movie Dumpster, P.O. Box 918, in Bangor, PA 18013. Or, of course, you can call us and leave us a voicemail at the Movie Dumpster hotline at 740-688-DUMP. Or for those of you who can't see it on the screen, it's 740-688-3867.
All right, that's how you get the dump. Those last four numbers are important. Yeah. So let's hear this first voicemail on the Movie Dumpster hotline, why don't we?
Here we go.
Yo, this is my favorite show. It's the best one on television, on the YouTube. And just want to tell y'all just how good it was. And always really liked it. And thanks a lot. And you keep on doing what y'all doing, but review that Problem Child 2. That's the greatest film that has ever been made, as far as I can tell. I ain't never seen no movie better. But, y'all got a good thing there going. Okay. All right. Y'all have a good one now. Take her easy, then.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. They didn't leave a name.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can't say thank you individually, but thank you for calling in.
Problem Child 2, I know you're a big fan. I think I saw it like maybe 15, 20 years ago at this point.
Problem Child 2 is one that I keep fucking championing because I'm telling you, it is the fucking funniest comedy sequel ever made.
Remember, Gilbert Gottfried makes a good return in that, I remember.
Oh my God, it's so funny. I think, even for this segment, in the beginning, when the guy picks up the phone and goes, hello, that's from Problem Child 2.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So there's a lot of good gags in that. There's a lot of great jokes. It's like the ultimate like, you could watch a movie and not have any idea about the first movie, but, like, if you watch it, the callback jokes are fucking hilarious, and just the movie's ridiculous.
Don't they have, like, the whole, like, joke with John Ritter and the wife, but it's, like, a different wife, but it's the same actress or something?
Yeah, it's Amy Yazbek.
Okay,
so, like, in the first movie...
Which, wasn't that his actual wife?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So in the first movie, he's got his wife, who's Amy Yazbek, and she, like, gets thrown off a bridge and, like, put in a pig pen and goes away.
Because of problem child.
Anyway, she fucks, what's-his-face, Kramer. So he, like, divorces her. But in the next movie, he meets
Michael
her again.
Richards, by the way.
Yeah, Michael Richards, there you go. Look, a fist!
Oh, my God. Spatula City's what I think of, but anyway.
It's a giraffe. That's from the first part I'm talking. But in the second movie, yeah, he meets Amy Yazbek. A totally different person, but like it's Amy Yazbek
That's
again.
a pretty good goof.
Nurse Annie.
Yeah.
And she's a brunette in that one.
Okay, different
And in the first movie, she's a redhead.
Right.
But anyway,
Yeah, but Problem Child 2 is definitely one that I feel like we're gonna get to eventually.
oh, I want to do it. I don't know if we're gonna get to it this year, but it would be really great.
We would love to make your wish come true, and Joe's also.
Yes. But that's awesome. Like, we're glad that you have a good time and that you're enjoying the show and that you love watching on YouTube and that there's a good community there and to interact with and kind of hang out with. So that's really awesome. Thanks so much for calling.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, let's take another one.
Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah, that's right. Nobody's beating me tonight. I've got an arm of steel. Yeah, if you're so tough, you see your stuff. That's right. Nobody's beating me tonight. I'm too strong for everybody in this place. Hey, who do you think you are, you piece of rat turd? Go ahead, punk. I want to hear you say it. Tell everybody in this place. Killer whales are the strongest.
Okay, was that Terry O'Quinn?
I don't know if that was Terry O'Quinn or Richard Harris with that ORCA line at the end.
He's got a metal arm, dude.
Yeah, well, yeah, that
So
is
he's
true.
gonna beat the shit out of us.
Or the hands, depending on the version of the lore.
Well, yeah.
Whoever's writing that issue.
Right. Or just the iteration of Terry. He was the winner. He's the Winter Stepfather,
Well,
dude.
of course, right. Yeah, Cruikshank works on him again. There's a lore dump in this.
Alfonso Ribeiro capture him with Christian Bale. It's a whole thing. And then I guess he also got the killer whale. Maybe it is the killer whale.
Oh, like the one, oh yeah, like because we did that whole thing with Dolph Lundgren in the episode. Maybe that was him, actually, now that you say that.
That was the whale. He picked up
oh,
the phone.
it's Nicky or whatever.
Yeah, Nick Finn. Yeah, and he fucking like psychically talked through the phone at us.
Yeah, I mean, he could do that again.
Why are the guilty, whatever, and
Yeah,
the
why are the
innocent been punished?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the guilty are rewarded or something.
Why was my child hosed off a boat?
Why am I naked in the sewer?
Is it a sin to commit a sin against a human? Fuck that up. You get the joke.
Can you commit a sin against a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
I mean, you can to Bo Derek's leg, apparently.
You can fucking eat it right up, break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you, ORCA, or the ORCA from ORCA, I suppose. I guess that's what we're deciding. This was the caller, was the ORCA.
I'm absolutely tickled that it was able to find a telephone.
It's like Damien the T-Rex with like the fucking
with the fucking arm cut, but it's a fin and it fucking pulls it off. But like doesn't actually talk, right? It just like looks into it. It's psychically like I don't know how it was recorded, but it happened. Pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, we also do have an email.
Yes. I have it pulled up here.
I guess the snail was out to lunch and didn't get the memo on that one, but we'll read it off the phone.
Yeah.
We're gonna bring some newfangled technology into this.
Yeah, newfangled. Okay. This is from Chris Kulik.
Hi, Chris. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing? And they say, hey, Joe and Sean, Chris here. And they also mentioned that they're on Twitter with their username, Chris Kulk, but it's V's for you.
Oh, Chris Kulk. Yeah. Okay.
And they say, I just started listening to you guys in November of 2021. I started all the way from episode 1 and loved you guys from the get-go. Well, thank you for doing that.
Wow, thank you.
Because we're pretty deep now. It's not like the first 80 episodes.
Yeah.
It's like we're deep.
That's a solid 2 years at MD.
The lore is heavy. He says, I've literally been listening to you guys every day since then.
Wow.
Last spring, I got up to the Boneyard episode. Oats is very happy to hear that.
Yes. Watch out for those Kyoshi, though. They get you every time.
Watch out for Charnetsky.
They fucking take that shit out of their head and stick it in your mouth.
Oh, God, I forgot about that.
You get a poopin' plat special.
That episode immediately made me want to seek out the movie and watch it. In the meantime, my grandma passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Sorry to hear that. He says it instantly became a comfort movie for me, and I immediately associate this movie with the comfort it brought me during this tough time, as well as you guys for bringing it to my attention. I want to thank you for helping me get through many tough times and introducing me to some amazing movies. Not only that, but the community you guys have built is just as friendly and great as you guys are. Thank you guys so much for everything you do, Chris K. Well, thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you so much,
Sorry to hear
Chris.
about your grandmother.
Yeah, we're sorry to hear about your grandmother. But we are happy that we could help it, lighten the load a little bit, you know. And we're so glad that you found the show and that you're enjoying it and it brings you joy. And I think I speak for Sean too. I'm gonna echo his sentiment and just the people who follow us, the dumpster dwellers that are watching this show right now. All you people make this show what it is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, again, I've said this before, but my favorite part of doing the show is watching the show and everybody interacting with the show and interacting with each other, like on YouTube and stuff like that.
Getting the feedback, talking to people about these movies and these topics that we all love. It's kind of part of the joy of doing it, like Joe just said. I don't want to literally parrot you, but
no, you're good. And even the live shows are some of my favorite things.
Right. I love that's the main interaction we get with you guys outside of just over the chat or over social media. So that's always a blast.
It's always a good time. But thank you so much, Chris, and that was really sweet. So thank you.
Thank you.
So without further ado, back to the dastardly Terry O'Quinn himself with Stepfather 3.
And we are back
with some Stepfather 3.
Yes.
So he kills Mark, and he just fucks off. Nobody asks where Mark goes or anything, and he buries him in a fucking flower bed.
And it looks so obvious that there's something in there.
And you think
Also, by the way, they reused the music from the first movie and do a remix of it for this film, which I was like, that's kind of cool. I wish they had it in the second film. I don't know why they have it for the third, but every time he kills someone, they play that.
Yeah, it's okay, I guess.
It's just he buried him in the flowers. Is that his head sticking out? No, it's just a crappy effect.
Well, then it never has a payoff because you're like, oh, somebody's going to find that eventually.
They hint towards it because he has that second woman later on.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you could have my house. Don't mess with the flower bed I get. Don't dig too deep.
I got special fertilizer for that one.
Yeah, but you're right. They don't ever go anywhere with that. It's just Mark's dead. Don't worry about it. He has a house in the neighborhood.
He has it. Yeah, but it's like the last house on the left somewhere.
Yeah, with Dr. Freudstein, obviously.
House by the cemetery for sure. It's probably built on the poltergeist land. Anyway.
Same neighborhood.
Same neighborhood. So, Priscilla Barnes and Terry O'Quinn have this whole back and forth where he's like, yeah, I love you, and I could help Andy walk again. I'll get him to walk again.
Like he's Jesus.
Yeah, or some shit. And there's some other stuff that happens. He tucks him in one night.
That was a fucked up scene, though.
He comes in and Andy's on his computer. He's like, what the fuck do you want? And he's like, time, light you out, kiddo, slugger. And he picks him up out of the wheelchair and he's like, yeah, get off me.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not done.
He's like, I can do it. And he's like, no, I got you, kid. Here, I'm going to take your robe off and tuck you in. Did you brush your teeth? God damn it!
That was the 4 or 5 weeks in. Kind of knows him, and then because
weird.
Right after that, he's on the couch with Christine making out, and fucking Andy comes out in the wheelchair, and he's like, Mom, I need the printer paper, and Terry's like, I put him to bed. How'd he get out of bed again? He doesn't know how to do it.
The excuse to walk in on his mom trying to get her fucking some D, right? And he comes rolling out. Hey, Mom, do you know where's your printer paper?
He knows what he's doing. He's got that. He is so suspicious. At first, he kind of likes the guy.
Yeah. He calls him a cornball.
Yeah.
And he's doing all this weird shit. He's trying to force it on him.
Well,
right?
and here's the thing, the last
trying
two films,
too hard, try hard.
Exactly. I hate to keep saying it, but again, it's the third movie. There's semantics surrounding it, but it's the third movie. First movie opens with that time skip, so you kind of can buy into it instantly. They're already married. Second movie, there's a time skip, and then like basically there's that montage in the middle of the film where they get to know each other over 9 months to a year, whatever the time
I think that's
frame is.
essential, though.
Yeah, this film doesn't have it at all. And they're even saying later on as things progress, like, oh, well, I've known you for 6 weeks, and I'm your father for 2 weeks.
Total.
It's like, what the fuck?
Total, though.
Because in this scene, basically, like, after they shoo the kid away, she wants to get it on. And he's like, I can't. Well, let me roll that back for 1 second, because there actually is a reason why he can't. And it's not because of his usual stepfather shit. He never says that that's why.
It totally is, though.
Well, it's because, in my opinion at least, because Andy mentioned something like, yeah, I'm looking into this 20-year-old case I keep reading about these like murders in the area. And then suddenly Terry's like, I gotta go. I can only do this if we're married. I got something going on.
Yeah, but I feel like that's like an offhanded thing. And he's just like, yeah, okay, crime, whatever. You're just a kid. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Right. But it's totally the thing where like he needs to get married before he can fuck her. It's like part of his ritual.
Sure.
In his weird like family killing thing.
And I guess this woman is just so desperate for some reason.
She's really
is
attractive.
It getting dry down there? The cobweb's starting to fucking build up.
Yeah, Mark wasn't doing it for her, dude. I don't think so.
Clearly.
And I don't know. She's really attracted to this guy? Question mark.
I mean, Meg Foster at least waited 6 months.
Yeah,
for fuck's sakes.
Yeah, I know. Even Caroline Williams was like, you don't even know this guy. The voice of reason. We don't have one of those in this movie.
Well, I mean, we do, but it's a kid, so no one listens to him.
Exactly. Yeah, so he says it to her on the couch. He's like, yeah, not until I get married. And she's like, are you asking me to marry? And he's like, yeah, want to get married? The next fucking scene, they are tying the knot.
It's a slam cut.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, holy shit. And again, now he's really like, I don't know about it. You see the face on Andy is just like, what the fuck is even happening?
Who's this fucking guy moving into my mom? Yeah. He's just a real weirdo.
There's also this kind of undertone up until this point where, it's not long because, again, they get married so quickly, but, like, the priest is kind of, like, talking to Andy about it, and he's like, yeah, he's kind of off, but, I guess he's kind of harmless. And then as soon as they're married, the priest is just like, oh, no, what, you're overthinking this, Andy. Like, you're crazy. And it's like, well, like, I kind of get where the priest is coming from because, like, yeah, it's just the kid reading too much into it. But also, like, you were kind of on board until they were married, fulfilling that sanctity of marriage you were talking about.
Yeah, well, he has to convince Father Brennan to, like, he's like, no, I'm telling you, look, I did the research. I typed it in. There's, like, 5 Keith whatevers at fucking in Louisville or wherever.
Because he's like a hacker. They talk about that.
He's hacking into, like, police documents and shit.
Because he wants to confirm that Keith is from where he really says.
Yeah.
Because he says to, like, to Christine and Andy, like, oh, yeah, I'm from Charlotte. And then he mentions to the priest, he's like, yeah, where are you from, by the way? Oh, I'm from Louisville.
And he's like, I moved from Charlotte to Louisville, and then then he says somewhere St. Louis later.
Yeah. And they kind of, I did think it was kind of some funny meta humor here where it's stuff we've talked about and I'm sure fans have talked about in the films where they're like, hey, yeah, where's all your friends and family? Oh, it was such short notice they couldn't make it.
I'd be like, that's a little fucking weird.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you could have postponed a little
Exactly.
while. You know what I mean? He's like, no, it's fine. Nobody gives a shit.
I had to get my dick wet.
Why didn't he just say, everybody's dead, right? That's never a thing. He's like, yeah, they're all dead. I don't know.
Yeah, in the past life, before I got this plastic surgery, I mean, in my past life, I was actually Thomas Jane's the Punisher, and my whole family was murdered by John Travolta's crime mob. Did you write that down there, Andy? Anyway, Christine wanted champagne. I can't let her wait.
So then there's like a bunch of other scenes where like Terry Quinn's interacting with Andy, and Andy doesn't want to go outside. He wants to watch his favorite true crime show.
He's got different hobbies than what Terry's expecting.
Yeah, and Terry's like, you can't watch TV. You got to come outside and play football with me. He's like, I don't play football. I'm in a wheelchair. What are you talking about? He's like, it's fine. You're going to be fine, kiddo.
He goes full Marsha Brady on this kid.
They're in the back, and he's like, come on, we're going to throw the old pigskin. You can catch it. Here you go, kiddo. He throws it at him. And this kid gets like hit in the stomach and like tries to catch it and like falls over in the fucking wheelchair, man.
First he hits him once, throws it back. Then he fucking torpedoes at him and knocks him over.
He gives him the bomb.
Yeah, and then Terry's like out of Big Lebowski or something. He's like, come on, get up. Come on, get up. You can do it. You can do it. And the fucking poor kid's like, what is even happening?
It hurt my arm. I can't get up. I can't walk. He's like, you can walk. Get up.
Where's mom when you need her? And then like later in the film, she's like, did he ever hurt you? And I'm like, how about the time time when he like made fun of you falling out of your wheelchair,
And he's
kid.
not bringing that up. He's saving it all up, right?
Well,
To connect the dots with.
But I also love how Terry just gives up and picks him up finally, but like really roughly,
He's
and it's like,
pissed.
hey, you figure it out, kid.
He's pissed off at him because he wants him to be able to walk. Because if he can't play football with him, then he's not like the perfect family.
Terry was thinking a little too, even though he's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Thinking a little too hard with little Terry in this film. And, you know, as soon as he got it, you know, his penis inserted in the vagina, realized he made a mistake. Because actually, this isn't the perfect family. The mom's not really what he wanted. The kid's not his perfect vision. And now he's in. So now he's got to make quick work of this family.
Well, he's trying to figure it out because like the kid's in the wheelchair and he's like, well, you can walk again and
Right.
we'll be fine. Everything will be fine. The big
like
wrench.
he just thinks that's going to happen.
Yeah, but the big wrench comes here because real dad comes and he's like, well,
Oh, yeah.
we want Annie to come live with us for a little while because there's like a computer camp or some shit.
That apparently Andy's been talking about for a while now.
And Terry O'Quinn has had it. He's like, you're not going. He's like, there's no reason for you to go. Why would you go? Everything's fine here. It's perfect. Why do you need to go with your dad? Your dad has his own family. It's fine.
He's like, I just got married. I got to start creating memories with this kid. And then, like, everyone in the room is just kind of like, all right, like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, let's just ask Andy and see what he wants to do.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, he shouldn't even have to decide. And there's, like, this awesome, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this awesome shot of him, like, with the hands on, like, the recliner.
Yeah.
The zoom in, pull. I forget, there's a name for that, but
He
that
like
technique,
zooms in and pulls out. It's like a
Yeah.
Jaws zoom. Yeah.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
And then we get to another slam cut. The slam cuts in this are pretty good, I thought,
Yeah.
of Andy. Like, I can't wait to go, Mom. I'll see you. Miss you, Mom. And Terry's like pacing in the background, like, I can't even believe this is a conversation.
He's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean you're leaving? So
Yeah.
now this is usually the breaking point for Terry, right?
Well, yeah.
So Terry's like, okay, it's over. There's a killing spree about to happen now. I gotta fucking you gotta get snubbed out. Priscilla
Yeah.
Barnes has gotta get snubbed out. And this is a weird turn for this movie, which is a kind of another flavor they throw in because like we don't really see this in any of the other movies where he's plotting his other life while he has this one break down.
Well, I mean, the first one we definitely see
Well,
that.
no, you get inklings of it, but like this, he's actually pursuing.
Okay, yeah.
And there's a whole relationship with this other woman, Jennifer, and her son Nicky, who come in they move in.
Right, it
basically,
becomes a plot point.
It becomes a plot point, and somebody answers his ad because he's going to move out of his cottage and into Christine's house because they're married.
Right, but this is also like another problem with this movie as
Yeah.
you're saying all that because he doesn't try to change his appearance at all. It's literally like a couple miles from where he's living now.
It
like,
doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, to the point where now he's like hitting on this woman, renting out his old house to her, possibly going to sell it.
He's going to sell it to her.
Yeah.
He's like playing football with the kid. They end up like hooking up and like for like it's over a course of like 2 or 3 weeks where he's like
Sleeping with her
grooming
or
this
making
fucking
out with her, yeah.
grooming this fucking woman, you know?
Well, even the priest comes over just happenstance because like he knows the family moved into the neighborhood.
And Terry's there
Yeah.
playing football with the kid and like tickling him and shit.
It's a awkward as hell scene.
It's
'cause
pretty
this-
good.
This is also after like the priest and Annie have like that conversation about the phone numbers, and the priest like begrudgingly says he'll do it.
Yeah.
But it's like kind of like half blowing Andy off, but half like, well, he's a little kid. I want to help him. I'm friends with the guy.
Yeah.
But now, like you can kind of see in his face, now he's like, he doesn't ever say this, but you kind of get the read on the priest that he's like, all right, maybe there's something here that I'm missing. This seems off. And there's even that confession scene when Terry goes to the confessional, and like the priest like knows who it is, but like he can't say it, and like Terry like won't admit to any of the things he's actually done, and the priest is like, well, what about like infidelity? He's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I have a perfect life. And he's
Where
like,
you from?
a couple Hail Marys. Anyway,
Bye. And he closes the little door and he fucks off.
yeah, it's awkward.
Yeah.
Like he slips hardcore, and again, like I hate to just immediately assume because like, oh, it's the TV version. Of course, it's going to be the shittier version of the last couple movies, but it kind of is, and it's a little disappointing.
Yeah, but like, so Terry finds his new mark with this chick, Jennifer.
Yeah.
And he, again, like, it doesn't make sense why he's like got one foot in the door here. It's an awkward situation which he's never been in, where it's like the family is kind of falling apart, but not really, and there's a dad who's still in the picture. What is the problem?
Right,
Because
he's
like
not an asshole dad.
Yeah.
It didn't work out the relationship.
well, yeah, and it was a thing like in the second movie where he was like, "Fuck this, Dad's dead. That's it."
right.
And that's how the guy from the Runestone, fuck that guy.
Right.
He's done.
Mitchell Lawrence.
Yeah, which is how that would work. But he's got a whole family is the problem in this movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's like leaving late at night and shit, and he's like cheating on Priscilla Barnes with this Jennifer woman and like building the new life while he
Yeah.
slowly does this one. And then like he goes They go to like a fucking like a fertility clinic, and it turns out Priscilla Barnes can't have kids, and that fucking sends him off the deep end too.
Yeah, like almost like, well, I can't get the kid that's already alive to like me. What if I just make my
the
own
baby?
with her?
Yeah. Which is pretty crazy to think how that would even work out.
Yeah, he also then like a couple times he does this in the film, and this might be one of the scenes where he just like goes off on like his landscaping in his backyard.
Oh yeah, he's like fucking chopping up a piece of stump, and then like another part he's like cutting up a bunch of fucking plants in the nursery.
The plants, I think.
Yeah, with a machete.
When he's attacking the wood earlier is when like when Andy doesn't
fuck.
It's when Andy wants to go to the computer class, and he's like attacking it. Like he doesn't have his wood shop or his garage this time. He's just hitting him with a fucking axe like repeatedly. And there's this awesome shot of Andy like watching him, and then he like realizes he's being seen, and he's like,
"Hey!"
And Andy just slowly closes the blinds. It's
like with Jill Sholin in the first one, where she comes down and he's freaking out and smashing that fucking birdhouse with a hammer.
So nothing's like going his way. So he's like flipping out. He's like, "I'm done with this. I'm just going all in on the new family." And he's like, yeah, I just got to clean up some loose ends. And then like now he goes like full like maniac.
He grabs a fucking axe and he's going to decapitate Priscilla Barnes.
Yeah. Which also there was this really like kind of sad scene where when he does come home late one time, it's like so obvious what's happening, even if you're not like really paying attention.
Right, the marriage is falling apart.
And she's like slaying in bed and like in her sexy like lingerie. And she's just like, okay.
Which makes sense, but doesn't make sense because I don't feel like he would have his mark yet and be cheating on the wife.
The timeline's horrible in this.
Like the way it doesn't fit his code.
No.
Like he would kill them first and then go find it. Even if he had the mark, he wouldn't like go and like try to befriend her or like make out with her or anything like that.
Well, he the whole thing too is like he really fucks up, and again, like the characters are increasingly getting dumber, almost like a Steve Brule effect.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, you know, you're dating someone that's in the same neighborhood who's like in your old house, not thinking about, well, you're in the same town, you're gonna run into the priest possibly, and then like she takes her kid to like the same school that his wife fucking teaches at.
What was the fucking plan there?
Yeah, because well, there's also a scene too, like when he basically to finish that thought about when he has the axe, he comes in, he's gonna chop her fucking head off or whatever. He's gonna go Lizzie Borden on her ass, and he comes in the room and Andy's back.
It's the night Andy came home, dude.
Exactly. I'm just thinking the shot though is like him in the doorway, him holding his axe
and
off
he's like
frame, and then like he like kind of is like Clark Griswold almost like kind of like tries to downplay it, like, oh yeah, you know, I got an axe, I'm gonna go chop some wood to let off some steam.
We'll have s'mores tomorrow night. I'll make a campfire. Okay, my family's back.
And Andy's like the only one that does a double take, but is like, okay.
So then he has to like break it off with Jennifer because she wants him to like marry her. Yeah. And he's like, nah, I can't. I got to think about it.
Well, that fucks him up too, because you're right. Because like, he's like kind of straddling that line. He doesn't know which side to pick, and then she drops that bomb on him. Like, you either got to decide or I'm moving on. I'm not waiting forever. And he's like, I guess I gotta kill you.
I mean, you forced my hand. I told you to fuck off, but you wouldn't listen.
But you know, he does this thing, and he gets flubbed up in every movie. But this one, he like is like, oh yeah, Nikki, you're back. When Andy's back, she's like, Nikki. Oh, Andy! Oh, I meant Andy. I meant Andy.
Who am I here? Jessica.
Because that's important in the next scene is when you get that scene where she takes the kid to the school to get signed up. And, you know, they don't know yet, but, like, Terry's walking in with the flower, like, to make good because he came home late and he's realizing there's tension. And he sees both of them sitting there and he's like,
oh, yeah. Gotta go.
Here's leaves the plant there.
Yeah, fuck you.
But she goes, oh, yeah, my son's Nicholas. Oh, we call him Nicky.
And she's like, Nicky?
She's like, that's weird.
So, fucking Andy, like, puts the photo of Terry. He sees Terry O'Quinn on television on his favorite murder program. Right. It's like, this is the family killer, blah, 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 blah.
The crime show or whatever.
Yeah, who's hosted by the braless wonder from Seinfeld, by the way.
Is it really?
Yeah. Huh. That's a tip that Jules clued me into that. I thought you were going to grab that one.
I missed that one. Was focusing on the wrong part of her body.
So they show a photo of Terry O'Quinn. He takes a Polaroid of it, and he fucking scans in a photo of Keith, and then scans in the picture of Terry O'Quinn, or Jerry rather.
I love how Keith is like doing his whistling down. He does the whistling. We didn't talk about that.
But it's like so fucking like whatever.
Yeah, but he's like walking down the hallway the one time when he's photoshopping it. Yeah, and he opens the door like a crack and happens to notice, and he's like, whoa,
and he's like, well, the kid's gotta die now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But they do like a callback a little later with a similar scene where he's like putting the photo one on top
It's
of
like
each
on
other.
top of each other. He shows the priest, and the priest is like, this is fucking ridiculous. What are you talking about? And he's like, come on, trust me. Did you check up on those guys I told you about? And he's like, yeah, they all lived there. And he's like,
Right.
I got it. They found prints at this crime scene. So let's get Keith's fingerprints and give them to the cops and see what we
Yeah.
could do.
I will say, can't even really get mad at them because they did what they were supposed to do. The art department of this film,
Yeah.
they found like the shittiest, grainiest picture of Terry they could find that kind of maybe looked like this guy has low opacity if it was overlaid.
It would never.
Kinda.
It would never hold up, and
No.
it doesn't even make sense. It looks like a fucking Xerox in the computer, and
Yeah.
it's like, how could you even put those two together?
Even the priest, because first he gives them the side by side, and
Yeah.
then later like they do like a got ya moment where they think.
Yeah.
They make you think that Terry's gonna come in and like confront him about it, but it's the priest like, "Hey, I'm the babysitter. I want some cookies." But he shows him like the overlay, and he's like, "I think you got off the deep
He's
end,
like,
Andy."
He's like, you're crazy, kid. Give it up.
Yeah, but then he's like at the dinner later. He's like, "All right,
I got his fork.
yeah." Well, they do this whole thing where he's like talking about his school or something, and they steal the fork, but like Terry's no moron.
No. He knows what's up.
He basically sees it, but they don't realize that.
And then Terry's like, yeah, I gotta go check something at the nursery. Be right back.
See, that was so stupid because I was kind of hoping, as smart as this kid was, he would kind of maybe, even if he couldn't do anything, would pick up on that and be like, "Oh, that was weird."
I mean, I'm sure he does, but like, what is he gonna do to stop him?
Yeah, I just would have liked a line there, just because the way they set this character up, this kid is like mini Sherlock Holmes kind of shit.
Yeah, and
Whatever.
he's kind of solving it, but not
Yeah.
putting it together. Like something has to happen big for it to make sense.
It's like Joel
to him.
Scholing. He's missing a few steps. Like when she gets the photo and it's the wrong photo, she gives up.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, this poor priest, man, he gets the Chucky treatment.
Oh, dude, he gets fucking Larry the Larva.
Actually, he's more like Killer Clowns, the
Yeah,
one
well,
that
kinda,
flies
yeah.
that dude off
Oh
the road.
no, come on, Joe. Yeah, he fucking but he doesn't run him off the road. He like
He intimidates him at
he
first.
goes in front of him and like pulls up so that he has to like swerve the priest.
Unbelievable acting by this priest, by the way.
Dude.
The terror on this actor's face is real.
Dude, he like fucking Terminator punches through this fucking window and slams this man's face into the steering wheel until he
Talk
dies.
about Winter Stepfather, man.
Oh man.
I think Cruikshank was already doing trials while he was sleeping.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's like when he killed Tony Stark's mom and dad. Yeah.
Obviously, that was part of the test program.
There's a fucking camera on a light pole there.
But like Stepfather TM doesn't even he takes it even further than that. He's like, "Oh yeah, I should have got the car with the airbag," and then like seatbelts him and pushes the fucking car off a cliff and blows it up.
He gives him a Tales from the Hood, dude. He fucking puts the rag in the gas can and fucking pushes him off and it explodes. They have the funeral. It's like the day of the funeral. And it just so happens to be Father's Day. And he's like, "Hey, guess what day it is, guys?" And he's like, "It's Father's Day."
Yeah.
Well, happy Father's Day to me. And they're like, one of our best friends and like the guy who led our church is dead.
Yeah, who's like the kid's like good friend, like
Good
an older
friend.
father figure of
Yeah,
his.
pretty much. He's like his fucking uncle or his grandpa.
Yeah, and this scene actually kind of touched me, and it kind of caught me off guard a little bit. But when Andy gives the little speech at the funeral about Father Brennan, and he's crying, and it's like, wow, this is just like. I feel like I talk about this occasionally more this year, surprisingly. I mean, we did do Thriller earlier this year. That's another one that had some really, really effed up stuff in it.
Oh, yeah.
But I was just like, man, like, just think about this whole fucking situation. Like, this is beyond fucked. Like, this is unbelievably messed up. Like, the whole thing.
Because, like, we don't see, like, the funeral for the guy in the first movie or anything.
No.
He just breaks the
And
news.
also, like, there's that scene right before, like, they go to the funeral where, like, Terry just takes the kid's computer away. He's like, you don't need this anymore.
I think that's as he... No, yeah.
It's in the same ballpark.
That's as he's telling him that he's dead.
Yeah.
He's like, by the way, your friend's dead. I don't think you need this computer anymore. Meanwhile, this kid has an emotional breakdown.
It's heavy. And then Terry immediately like leaves because he sees the other woman show up.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah,
I gotta go. The nursery.
Who knows what it was, man? Because right across the way, fucking Nathan's coming out of the ground, choking Aunt Bedelia, and Danny Glover's getting stalked by the predator in the same cemetery.
MDU graveyard. You know, Uncle Sam, like you said,
in the daytime though. This is the daytime.
Daytime version. A little less violent, but there's still violence happening.
Yeah, well, you got the predator there, and you definitely have Nathan over there, and Aunt Bedelia.
Yes. There's definitely some kind of a gunfight going on involving some form of the Yakuza somewhere in this funeral or cemetery location.
So Priscilla meets Jennifer at the funeral, and they end up like making plans to like see each other. Now at this point, Priscilla knows something's up. Jennifer doesn't know what's going on. Terry O'Quinn sees them together, and he's like, "Oh fuck, my whole plan
Right.
is going to shit. So he's like, yeah, so you got plans with Jennifer tonight. Okay, I'm gonna go to the nursery and do some work. Why don't you go take a bath or something? All right?
Which she does.
Which she does.
One of the racier scenes again, and now that you're saying HBO, they still don't really even
You
show
get like
anything.
half a butt cheek
Yeah, that's
of
it.
Priscilla Barnes' butt.
Side butt.
Side butt, yeah.
But then Andy comes in. He's like, yeah, Mom, I'm not looking, but anything weird?
I can see in the mirror, though.
Yeah, a little bit, so unfortunately.
Yeah.
Keith, he's a little weird, right? And she's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, come on, Mom. Just like, do you get a weird vibe off him? And she's like, well, now that you mention it.
You thinking there's anything weird with Keith? He doesn't strike you as, a fucking serial killer or anything?
Then she gets the call.
And it's like, she clearly knows that he's cheating on her. And
Right,
she's
well,
like,
she did, yeah.
yeah, but she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Everything's fine.
She's not thinking he's a killer, but yeah, right.
Yeah, but that's...
Something's off.
Something's bad, though. You know what I mean? I wouldn't,
Exactly, because then she gets a call from Jennifer that, my boyfriend called in a hurry. I'm going to go out with him.
Your boyfriend, huh?
She's like, the timing's a little too close.
So guess what?
Yeah, we're all going to meet at the nursery.
We're all going to meet at the nursery. So Jennifer shows up and gets her fucking ass handed to her because she's like...
Oh my God, he fucking pimp slaps the shit out of her.
Dude, he hits her so hard, she turns into a fucking man for that one scene. The stunt guy.
She does. And I could have sworn I heard someone. This fucking guy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude.
He's got all the lights off. He's using that Terminator vision.
Probably.
Cruikshanks installed it earlier that night. But then, yeah, he's about to throw her in this fucking mulcher that they hint at a few times in the film.
Yeah, because she's like, you're going to marry me? And he's like, fuck no. You're going to fuck up my life with my wife and kid. And she's like, you son of a bitch.
She's like confused, of course.
So he's about to make her into fucking ground beef. And Priscilla Barnes shows up. So he like stuffs her in like the bushes.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's up? What's going on, Priscilla Barnes? She's like, where is she? And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's just me and the plants hanging out.
Didn't hit her hard enough, though, because she kind of wakes up.
This bitch fucking comes rolling out of the weeds going, ugh.
Well, then Terry's like, all right, jig is up. I guess I'm going to power bomb you and suplex you into this wood.
I told you to leave, but now I got to fucking backhand you into oblivion.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. She goes flying across the thing.
The two of them. Then he's like going to throw them both in the mulcher. But thank God Andy's like, what's in this jacket back here?
He's like beating Priscilla Barnes' head against the fucking lattice.
Well, he did the same move to the priest against the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Slam his head against it.
Yeah,
that's his new move.
It's not going to work too well.
No.
There's this whole shot of him like pushing his fucking wheelchair out of the car and like
first,
getting in the wheelchair.
He does find the fork. He
finds the fork, but like at that point you already knew.
Well, he didn't. He needed confirmation. He is Sherlock Holmes. He's not going to go on.
It is
on a guess.
That's it. He's got the fork. He knows what the deal is.
But you're right. He does it the wheelchair and he pulls it out. Again, he could have just been wheelchair bound, and I think the end of this film still works fine. I don't know why they have this weird thing where it's like, it was psychosomatic so that he can get up for some reason and run away for a little bit.
Let me tell you something.
He could have done everything he did in the end of this movie in a fucking wheelchair. I don't get the point.
Terry O'Quinn is about to throw Priscilla Barnes into the fucking wood chipper. And this kid gets out of his chair like a fucking miracle of Jesus. And
they spent a long time with him standing up. She would have been mulched by the time he got up.
Yes, but also fine. He can walk fine.
I mean, it's fine. It's
No. I mean, like he can use his legs in real life. He's psychosomatically paralyzed, right?
Right.
But your legs would still atrophy if you haven't used them for like fucking 3 years.
Well, right. The whole thing falls apart.
And he just stands the fuck up like it's no big deal and throws the wheelchair at him and rolls into Terry O'Quinn.
He stands up like Linda McMahon at WrestleMania 17 and just like does the proverbial nut kick to the fucking ladder.
If that wheelchair hit him and he was holding Priscilla Barnes, she would have went fucking face first into that thing.
I forgot about the wheelchair.
But somehow that doesn't happen.
No, he chases him around the fucking woods like the Godfather with the orange in his mouth.
In the fucking tomato plants?
Yeah. Speaking of the Godfather, or not the Godfather, the fucking guy. I forget if I already said this or not, but Thompson. Was in Batman
that's right.
Forever.
Yeah. Yeah. We forgot his kill because he catches Jennifer.
Yeah.
He catches Terry O'Quinn at Jennifer's
let's
house.
Just mention that very briefly as we're wrapping up the film. But yeah, he catches him and he's like, "Yeah, I saw you at Jennifer's house. Yeah, with my truck out there."
I'm thinking, why is my truck at her house and not at your fucking house? Then I walks up to the windows and I seen you rolling around with that broad, and I think to myself, you son of a bitch, all that family shit is bullshit.
Right, that's what sets him off. And much like the shovel, he's also sharpening his fucking rake.
Oh, dude,
and his awls. And he just hits this guy right in the chest with his rake, instant death. I'm like, okay.
Right to the chest and then right to the throat.
The throat, maybe.
I think he's dead.
He's dead. But it's kind of a funny thing that happens is like he gets a call and he's like, oh, Mr. Thompson, yeah, he left town. Oh, I'm the manager now. Yeah, this is going to be great. It's like, yeah, you're the manager of Mr. Thompson's landscaping.
How is this
okay.
not all falling apart? And how is his like ex-wife not taking taking this business over?
I don't know, because 2 days later is Stepfather's Day, and here we are at the climax.
Also true, yeah.
But
so Terry O'Quinn puts a fucking ladder up. And because he can't find Andy. So he goes up and he's looking for him with a searchlight. And Andy runs out again. Runs out. Hasn't walked in 3 fucking years.
Could have been in the wheelchair, turned the gas on, and hit the fucking ladder. Done.
Dude, if he had Uncle Gary Busey, he could have had the silver bullet.
That's what I'm saying.
And just fucking zoomed right into him.
I don't know. Like, maybe I'm like hung up on that. It just feels like a weird thing where it's like you could have had this cool like pro advocacy thing, like pro like disabled thing where it's like, oh, he's in a wheelchair and he took out the killer. Instead it's like, no, he miraculously stood up because it was all in his head. And that's the only way he could have done it. It's like, no, he just could have knocked the fucking ladder.
Again, Terry O'Quinn got him to walk again.
No, he did.
I think he did, didn't he?
Hence why he's allowed to live in this future life instead of being sent straight to the other place.
So he runs into the ladder and pushes it, and Terry O'Quinn takes a fucking swan dive into the wood chipper.
But you get that final jump scare, of course, where he somehow is hanging on for dear life.
Dude, Priscilla Barnes comes over and grabs Andy's arm. He's like, let go of my son! Let go!
Yeah.
This go rivals the fucking oh my god of Troll 2.
It's right up there.
It's right up there. You can like put them right over each other.
And he just, I guess, loses his grip and falls, and that's the last we see of him besides the fucking meat hitting the wall.
And the hand. There's a hand in there.
There's 2 hands. We did say we'd come back to this.
We'll come back to that in a second.
But yeah, he's dead as a doornail, and they make a point to make sure you really know by focusing on the camera on the bloody mill.
There's a definitely hand stump in there.
Yeah.
Jennifer wakes up and cuts the power with an axe, and she's just there while Andy and Priscilla Barnes have like a touching moment together, and then they just walk out together.
I guess so. There could be another witness to say, no, yeah, that really did happen. She didn't just murder her husband for no reason.
I guess. Happy Father's Day, slugger.
Which
it's like it's not as good as Fuck You Lucky Charms, but
no,
you know.
I'm gonna say it here just to immortalize the idea. We need to make a Happy Stepfather's Day T-shirt.
Absolutely.
Maybe with the slugger, maybe without the slugger.
Yeah.
Debatable. We'll figure
maybe
it out.
Maybe it's a cake.
Could be a cake.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
It's an idea.
So yeah, the hand is the only thing left of Terry O'Quinn, the stepfather. We've talked about this many times.
The hands.
The hands.
Left and right. The yin and yang.
The left and right, the yin and yang. One, of course, is the left hand, and that's the idle hand.
Right, from the movie Idle Hands.
Yeah. And the right one is Thing from the Addams Family.
Right.
And they have sword duels and shit.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They fence in basically Mordor, I think I've said in the past.
Yes,
these volcanic locations out of like Legend of Zelda or some shit.
Yeah, so Terry lives on.
Terry lives on. He ascends, like we mentioned earlier. He becomes this like ghostly figure tilling the lands for the movie Dumpster Universe Wizards, which, again, we didn't even explain that in the last Stepfather episode. I don't think we have since
We don't
then.
have to because it's in the other episodes, so go check them out.
Yeah, they're evergreen.
There will be a Stepfather lineage of episodes to watch in the description of this video.
Which is kind of crazy to think about because, again, like we said earlier, it never was the plan, just kind of worked out that way. And kind of an interesting footnote in the history of movie Dumpster now.
It's a good through line. Yeah. I think Winter Stepfather is one of my favorite characters that we've kind of come up with.
Me too. It's just a weird thing. And just, again, like you said, the hands fighting and whatever Terry's doing, whether he's saving the world or being taken over by Cruikshanks, it kind of just depends on if he took his medicine that week or not. He's
kind of like a spirit now, though, right?
I mean,
like a benign thing.
I don't want, again, Ascension, you're kind of a spiritual or a paranormal figure, but you also have you're not fleshless. You are a thing.
Yeah, you're corporeal, depending on which timeline you're pulled in and out of.
Well, you can also die and come back. So I don't know. It's its own personal hell in some way, regardless.
Yeah, I would agree.
I guess where are we putting this on the old shelf? Is this in the dumpster, Joe?
This one's it's in the dumpster.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Okay. It's on the top though. All
right.
As far as direct to TV or video sequels go, it's really not that bad. Like I wasn't like hurry up, like end this fucking movie already. But when you have the masterful Terry O'Quinn in that first movie, which is untouchable in terms of like suspenseful thriller drama from the 80s. I mean, it is a fantastic film. Stepfather 2 has its merits, but we still get Terry O'Quinn in that one. His absence is so fucking it's palpable in this movie, like so much so that like this guy can't even, those are such big shoes to fill.
Oh yeah,
for this series, right?
He tries to fill it the clothes.
He
doesn't nail it, but they give him the clothes.
He can't even fill it out the fucking clothes. Yeah. And Terry O'Quinn's a thin man. It's just not really great. They try to do new stuff in this, but they keep coming back to the same fucking core thing, and in doing so, they fuck up their own rules and they fuck up their own story because of that, and it just doesn't really gel at all. And Terry O'Quinn is, well, the stepfather TM is the least careless in this movie.
Oh yeah,
and it just doesn't make any sense. So
it's like he's not even trying anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. It's super tame, especially, again, for like an HBO thing. I know that's not the point of Stepfather movies. It's for a gore fest. But after 2, you'd think they'd go even more ham in this one.
Or at least consistent to
it.
On par.
Stepfather 2 becomes a slasher film.
Right.
You think that they would go in on this. There are things in this script and in this movie that they kind of try to keep together, like the glue, like the whistling and some of his tendencies and all that kind of stuff, but it ultimately just like he even makes a birdhouse in the beginning to pass the time while he's healing, but like it just never really gels. And again, I wouldn't recommend watch the other 2 instead, and if you're really feeling saucy, fucking pop in Stepfather 3. There's really not much there for me to go back and revisit it.
Yeah, this is in the dumpster without a doubt. Yeah. I would even argue, don't even waste your goddamn time with this one. Unless you're just one of those wackos that needs to see everything, which is usually me and Joe also. Well, but I would even
completist,
say... Yeah, like, listen, this is like other movies I've said that about, like 2 in particular. I know they're independent films, and I don't always mean to go back to them, but like Jacko and Halloween, what was that? Not Halloween Town, Haunted Ween were 2 films I said don't ever watch.
Well, that's
me personally.
That's an independent film. This is made by HBO.
This is it's still not a theatrical film, but I guess this is now on the list of films I'm saying don't ever watch unless you're just like Joe said, you really, 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 really need to know. It's on Tubi. Listen, they don't do anything really better than the last 2. I do kind of appreciate on some level that they try to bring it right back to like the thriller they bring back some thriller elements that the second one lost, but I just think like the overall package doesn't deliver, so it's kind of like doesn't matter by then.
There are some good scenes, but they're few and far between.
And like you said, for a TV movie, I actually think it's pretty competently made. But when you think about it as the third Stepfather movie, it's like, wow, what a piece of shit.
It's not good.
Again, for a TV movie, pretty well done, but just watch the first or second film at that point.
It's not really entertaining in the same way that like 2 is. So like 1 is obviously better than 2, but 2, you still have Terry O'Quinn, and there's still something to chew on there.
And the character just has changed so drastically from that first film, and it literally just feels like that cheap imitation, and the accent and the wardrobe don't help.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there wishing that Terry was there or some better actors. And again, like Andy and Christine, the mom and kid, they're actually pretty good, but they're just not given a lot to work with.
No.
And I actually do like Andy and the priest's relationship a lot, but it's just like shoehorned into a film that I don't care about.
Yeah.
I feel like that could have been more interesting in 2 because Jonathan Brandis has like nothing to do in that second film.
No, he doesn't.
Really.
But at least you have Meg Foster. And the problem with this third movie, the biggest sin is that all the supporting characters are better than the bad guy. And he's like not charming or anything. There's nothing really great about him.
He's not the draw, and he was the draw to those last 2 films, especially that first one.
He's not compelling anymore as a character.
It's just like fucking, I was thinking about this on the way over here today. The way I would look at this is just like, take it out back, fucking put a couple of bullets in the back of its head like Lenny and the Mice and Men and just forget about it, because like you got 2 better films, and even that second one I don't even really like, but if I'm reaching for one that's not the first one, I guess it's the second one or just something totally different. This is pretty deep in the dumpster. Not like your Pluto Nashes per se or your House of the Deads as far as like just like totally at the bottom, don't ever want to see it again, but it's swimming deep enough in there that I'm not reaching through all the fucking garbage to get to it. It can just stay there forever and just like decompose into nothing and just be forgotten like it should. In reality, we don't need to remember this film. Joe's gonna put it on the literal shelf because he owns it. But yeah, this is dumpster through and through, man.
Yeah, the caveat for me is that it will go on the shelf because I am a completist. And again, I don't think it's so bad. I don't think it's such a stinker that you wouldn't like if you do like it, if you happen to do like it, like I'm sure it's fine. Like it's fine. And I think that's a problem that it's just fine.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of my main point. Is just like it isn't the worst movie ever by any stretch. It's just it really misses the point of this series by now.
I wish it was better because it's half in, half out, and it doesn't really know what it wants to be. And it's like you could have just went full cheese. Like you get a little bit of that in Stepfather 2. You should have just went full ham on this.
Exactly.
You know,
the thread was lost.
The thread was gone. It was gone,
and the movie suffers for it. Yeah. And I don't need a fourth one unless it's our own version.
It tries to be clever and tries to do all these things, but it never really lines up.
Which is still something we talk about in this episode and those last two episodes and many times over the show. That is something that in the MDU, the Stepfather 4, whatever that may be, whether that's Daddy's home, come to Daddy, whatever.
Make room for Daddy.
Yeah, that in our own minds, and then you dumpster dwellers' minds. That is the actual a final Stepfather film, not whatever this is. Yeah. And we'll leave it at that, I suppose.
So yeah, that's it. That's Stepfather 3. And if you want some more Movie Dumpster content, don't forget to head over to patreon.com/moviedumpster for an ad-free audio version of the show and help support the show for as little as $2 a month.
And for no money at all, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a like on the video. And if you're listed on your favorite podcast app, leave us that 5-star review. It really helps us get out of the bottom of the dumpster and into more eardrums, eyeballs, and everything in between. Get the word out on the show.
And as always, follow us on your favorite social media apps at Movie Dumpster on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter to follow up for updates or what we got cooking.
Some special Stepfather's Day hamburgers maybe we got cooking there, Joe.
So that's it. That's Stepfather 3 from 1992, directed by Guy Magar. I'm Joe Lascola.
And I'm Sean O'Rourke.
Thanks for visiting the dumpster.